Call this September 11th Jackson County Commission work session and meeting to order. Have a roll call.
District 1, Mr. Duffy. District 2, Mr. Venable. Present. District 3, Ms. Gilbert.
Present.
District 4, Mr. Sis. Chairman also present.
We do have a quorum present for tonight. We'll have our invitation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Ms. Gilbert.
God, our Father, we're blessed to be here. We're thankful for this world. We're thankful for this county and this nation. God, right now we do say a special prayer for those that have been affected by the storms, both at Harvey in Texas and Louisiana, and more recently in Florida and other places. We pray that you'll be with those that are trying to provide rescue services and recovery services. Pray for their safety and their well-being. We pray for the victims that have been affected by the storms. We also pray that the storms won't get any worse here in our county. So God, we pray that you watch over us all, guide us and direct us every day. In Christ's name, amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First time is approval of the agenda. We'll approve our work session agenda first and then approve the meeting agenda following. So for the approval of the work session agenda, we have 4 items on the work session this evening. Do we have any changes before we proceed?
Chairman, do we need to add the public works project triple focus treatment into the work session agenda?
It's on the meeting agenda. We can have the discussion there and postpone if needed.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other items to be discussed, Mr. Campbell?
No, sir.
Okay. Any other questions or changes? Okay, we have 4 items. We have a motion to approve the work session agenda as
On
presented.
this, wait a minute here, I'm looking, please, I'm slow. This litter control van, that's the one we was talking about with Sheriff's Department, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I know we discussed that there. Maybe Rocky can answer that.
We can discuss that during the work
During
session.
the work session?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have to put that on the meeting agenda if we're not prepared yet.
Okay, that'll work, thank you.
Any questions or changes? Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, we have no words of presentations. We do have one person that signed up to speak. If you want to present something, some information?
I guess it would be appropriate tonight when we're
Okay. We didn't have a discussion on that on the agenda, did we, or did we?
It's in the work session.
Okay, all right.
Number 4.
Okay, then we'll defer to that point. Okay, so moving on to the discussion items. The first item regarding the civil partner contract at the jail. This is an annual contract that we have. It's time to renew that. Begins October 1, correct, Mr. Manning?
That's correct.
Stated. Do you have any information on this? You want to share any information?
As it showed, went up roughly about $9,000 on this upcoming year. Last year, it remained the same from the previous year before that. Just averaging a small increase there. I think it says about 4.5%. So just a bit of an increase on that contract, and we did look at this about 2 years ago, and Southern Health Partners was by far the best provider for the jail at that time, and we discussed that with the sheriff and everyone involved when that came up.
This increase, is it in the budget numbers that we've been looking at already?
Yes.
It's already built into the budget numbers?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions or comments? And is there any objection to placing this on the meeting agenda immediately to follow? If there's no objection, we'll place this as item number 5 on the meeting agenda. Okay. Next item is regarding the litter control van. We had discussed this previously. There are some different options on how to proceed with this. What you have in your packets is a proposal for the state bid. There are some local options, I think some used options, but there's some issues and concerns with some of those different used options. So we need to determine how we want to proceed with this. I think we talked about if we do pursue this, we would utilize sanitation funds to help cover this cost as it pertains to things that we're looking at in the sanitation department. So, questions, comments on this?
Well, I wasn't discussing it right there, I know that was for litter control, right? We've got 3 vans out there, is that correct? Sheriff Department?
Yes, 2 transport vans and 1 litter control van, and a kitchen van.
Okay, well, that's what I was wondering, I know our funds are very shallow here nowadays, and I just wondered, you know, if there's some way them other ones, the transport vans.
Transport vans have got to be available in case judges call for court,
Uh-huh,
and they generally are busy every day coming back and forth, bringing prisoners back and forth. Kitchen van is not, not set up for transport of personnel. It is merely to transport food products.
okay. All right. Now, this van that they won't replace, is it because of high mileage, is that what the, basically, is
To
that?
be honest with you, that probably shouldn't have been purchased in the first place. It was a used van when they bought it, and it just didn't hold up very well when they bought it. We didn't have anything to do with that particular purchase, but it probably shouldn't have been purchased. It was pretty rough when they bought it.
Okay, all right. All right, thank you, Rodney.
There are some used options, like I said, out there, but I think there's a similar concern with that. If, you know, we'll spend the money now, but we don't guarantee that we'll have long use of that van for an extended period of time. I didn't plan to move forward with this tonight. We could put it on the next meeting agenda, next work session for further discussion, but I didn't want everybody to take a look at this. I know we discussed it in our last budget meeting, and I think the dollar amount was kind of what we were wondering what the cost was and how it's received, but are there any other questions or comments at this time?
Mr. Chairman, can I say one more thing? Of course, you know, even though the litter control program has kind of been ended because of the budget issues, and we don't have an actual person that does this all the time, we do have volunteers that go out there probably 2 to 3 times a week, reserve volunteers that go out and take the inmates out, so that's what it's being used for.
Well, I like to keep it, because, I mean, like we discussed before, keep this litter up, and I know Cecil's done it a whole lot, different ones, so. Just trying to see where it was for the money wise.
Any other questions or comments? What I'd like to do, I'd still like to get with the sanitation department, discuss them further, and then place this on the agenda next work session, if that's okay. And if there's no objection to looking at this, continuing on this route, we'll keep this as the primary focus. Let me know if you have any other concerns. So this will be on, what is next week? 18th, thank you. The agenda on the 18th. Okay, next item is regarding the pest control bid. This is something, I think it's been 2 or 3 years since we did this out last. You should have, or I've got a copy, I believe. You've got a copy of the bid, and we should have a copy of the full packet of bids. Is that in the center there? Is that all public works?
It's all public works, so Jonathan knows it.
All right, I can obtain that if necessary. This is a monthly cost that you see in your packets. This is for all of our facilities. We have pest control for. This does not include the termite inspection or termite process. We've got a separate contract for that. So this is just for pest control at these facilities. So any questions or comments on this?
This low bidder, that's the one that's been there the last, 2 years, isn't it?
Correct.
And everything's been fine?
Everything has been. There have been some concerns recently, I think, with some issues at the park. My understanding is they've gone to address that, so.
So when called out, they're taking care of it?
Right. Yeah, that's the experience we've had in the past. Any other questions or comments or concerns? Okay, do we have proposed, do we want to move forward with this tonight or move that to the next meeting?
I propose moving forward with it.
Okay, so we'll create item number 6 on the meeting agenda for our pest control bid. Okay. Next item is regarding the Public Works auction proposal, Mr. Campbell.
In your packets, you should find proposal for J.M. Wood Auction Company. And This may seem a little early to you. Normally, we start looking at this a little later in the year, preparing for the spring. And as you most likely recall, last time it didn't go J.M. Wood's way, and I can turn it over to Russ Wood. He's here with us now and the one who had signed up to speak with you. So I'm gonna let him kind of run through his proposal. And as I said in the email, if you feel comfortable with what's here and you've had adequate time to make a decision, we can move forward and place it on the meeting agenda. If you would like some more time to study it, or if you want to talk further about it, we can postpone a vote if required. So I'll turn it over to Russ.
My name's Russ Wood with J.M. Wood Office County. Been working in this county for many years. What we propose is fairly straightforward and simple. We want to guarantee you all your money back, 100% of your money back on your trucks. And we'll do this for the next 2 years. So we're basically putting our money where our mouth is, saying that we'll guarantee you 100% of what you paid for your trucks back. The spring sale will turn around as soon as you get VIN numbers on your next round of trucks. We'll turn around and do the exact same thing again. It's good for both of us. Last year, we've been selling off trucks for many years, and what happens to us, we like to get them booked early where we can promote them. And when we go into the spring sale, we're actually in the fall going out and getting contractors to put their older trucks in the sale. So we have guys from Boston to Texas that buy these county trucks from us. Well, they may have 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old trucks. We go out and book those, but we got to know what trucks we got coming, so we can do that, so we can go ahead and have these pre-sold. It's better for us to get them booked this time of year versus January. Last year, we pretty much had all our trucks filled up for the sale, so I was a little less aggressive, but we want to correct that for y'all. We're going to stand behind it, and we're going to lower our commission by 1% also. So it's twofold. We'll guarantee it for 2 years, lower our commission rate. And it's non-binding. If the numbers don't make sense one year, there may be a year I come to y'all and say, hey, now this year's not the year to sell them because the trucks that are coming out next year may have different emissions or different engines that we don't want to be a guinea pig on. So there may be that year where we say, hey, this is not the year to sell them, you want to keep your trucks. Then that has happened in the past. If any of y'all in the construction business or deal with trucks, you know every year there's new emissions and then things you got to be aware of. We're just here to help you. So
If we do choose to sell though, it is guaranteed.
it's guaranteed. We stand behind it, but that's always y'all's decision. And it's non-binding. You know, y'all can call us up and say, hey, we want to get out of this, and say, okay, send something in writing. So it's pretty simple from our standpoint. We just like to get these trucks booked early where we can promote them. If y'all got any questions, let me know. That's the main reason I was here.
Questions or comments?
So what you're saying is you're gonna guarantee what we pay, you're gonna return that to us.
Absolutely. You're gonna get 100% of what you paid, and any of the overages, we have been charging y'all 7%. We're gonna charge you 6%.
And that's for the next 2 years.
So the contract's good for 3 years, but we're gonna guarantee you, it's basically an annual contract. Y'all just say, hey, we wanna renew the next year. And so the next 2 years, we stand behind it. So it's kind of a win-win for both of us.
Other question, while you're here, I know a
Yes,
lot of these contractors and stuff's going to automatics.
Absolutely.
What's your thoughts?
That's the way of the future. That's the only way to go.
Yeah, that's what
It's, I wouldn't think twice about it. It's gonna help everybody. Matter of fact, probably 5 years ago, 80% of the truck market was manual transmissions. Now, probably 60% is automatics. And I bet you over the next 5 years, 80 to 90% will be automatics, manual will be
Right.
a thing of the past. So I wouldn't think twice about the automatics on everything.
We changed over to Kentworth
Yes,
versus the Max. I know they're both great trucks.
absolutely. There's a need in the marketplace for Kenworth. The Max has been good to us, been good to y'all. But the problem we got now, there's been a lot of counties that hadn't been on the program. And they see counties like y'all doing well with it, now they jumped in it. So now we've got an extra 30 or 40 trucks on the market that we weren't counting on 24 months ago. So it's a good thing that you separate yourself just a little bit and get into something, because the market's it's gonna peak with the Mac, and there's too many of them. I think that's a good move.
Well, I kinda thought that, you know, the KW's got a big name, kinda like John Deere, and, you know, one thing with the engines, most everybody wants the bigger engines. And they
That's
had-
right.
They had the bigger engines.
We go with the Cummins engine,
Right.
not the Packard.
Right,
And, not everybody likes Coca-Cola. You know,
yeah.
you got two different folks out there that they're only gonna buy Mac, and this other guy's only gonna buy Kenworth.
Right.
So I think it's a good situation for y'all.
Any other questions or comments? If this, I think the next meeting we'll have will be the 25th, if we don't do this tonight, is that gonna be enough time for us to
Oh,
get this taken care of?
Absolutely.
Any other questions or comments?
I'd be comfortable going ahead and,
I think,
I'd like to kinda look it over right there myself. I mean, if we have the 25th, all right with you. I mean,
Mr. Porter, we need to look over.
check this thing out a little more. Is that about the bottom thing you do on the commission?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
so this would be the agreement we would proceed with, correct? Which
Yes,
is-
sir.
Okay. So any other questions or comments? Okay, if we want to proceed then with the next meeting, placing this on the next meeting agenda?
Yeah, the 25th will be fine. Mr. Porter, look over it and get back to us within.
One other thing that I want, before we get out of this right here, I mean, I
Yes.
read over this right here, I know we went to Rich Brothers this year. They, I can't remember if it was right or not, they came pick them up and transport them, clean them up, was that, I can't remember.
We can absolutely pick them up for you. We can handle transport.
Y'all handle all
That's
that
the easy
there?
part.
Okay. Just try and get out anything that's gonna be expensive to us.
Got it.
Appreciate you coming.
Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything further? All right, we'll place this on the agenda for the 25th. Okay, that concludes the items on our work session. We'll move on to the meeting portion. We'll know that we have any minutes from our previous meeting and no old business. We'll need to approve the agenda for the new business. We have the 4 items presented, plus items 5 and 6, which are the Southern Health Partners Agreement and the,
Pest control.
Pest control bid, right? So we have those items, 6 items. Do we have any changes before we proceed? Motion to approve that agenda as stated.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
Motion, do we have a second? Ms. Gilbert. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed say no. Okay, first item is regarding motion to approve the easement to the city of Scottsboro and the Jackson County jail property. This is something we discussed a couple weeks ago. It has been revised, correct, Mr. Porter, to identify this as an easement?
Mr. Kimber made the requested changes for the city, and it is now specifically an easement, is not a DD, so they'll have the right to use the property for that purpose, but it still belongs to the county.
Excuse me. Okay, so any further discussion on this item? Do I have a motion to approve this item as presented?
Make-
Motion, have a second?
I second.
Okay, motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Next item, motion to approve the 2018 annual public works bid list. Let Mr. Campbell walk us through this.
Thank you, Chairman, Commissioners. On the table there, but each of the folders contain all the items listed on the sheet. Also on the sheet listed beside each item, you'll see a designation of why that's being recommended by our office. For example, only bidder, low bidder. And most of the items are pretty straightforward, but I feel like there are a couple that we need to discuss. And the first one of that is the fuel bid. It's titled on this sheet, unleaded gasoline and diesel. So there were several events that kind of occurred after these bids were opened, and part of the bid packet is that there's bid on 87 octane, 100% gas, 89 octane, 100% gas, and diesel fuel. Also, they must have a backup supplier. So as you guys probably know, there, from time to time, there are instances where, you know, maybe we're out of gas from a shipment over the course of a weekend, if there's an eventful weekend for the sheriff's department or otherwise, or there's something happens with the pumps or the dispensers, and we must have an alternate backup to turn to receive fuel. So, both companies listed have submitted a backup supplier. However, initially, they both submitted the same backup supplier. So, when our office called to verify that that same company could back up both, then that changed. So, the low bidder that you see here that's recommended, they're 10 cents cheaper per gallon on unleaded fuel and 9 cents cheaper per gallon on diesel fuel. However, they're the ones that have a little trouble with the backup supplier. They now have submitted a different backup supplier, and when we spoke with him, he said that he understands the obligation to 24-hour service, holidays, weekends, after hours, all that, and would have no trouble in meeting the supply. So, if you would like to see more information about the low bidder, the second bidder, or the backup suppliers, they're all in the folder there underneath the gas and diesel bill.
The backup supplier to the 24-hour service station.
Not now, neither are. However, I can say that the low bidder, second low bidder, their service is what we have had for the past several years. Their backup supplier we have utilized. So I know
Whose backup supplier we have utilized?
the previous supplier. It's
Oh.
Jad Oil is the second low bidder, and their backup supplier is West Side. So,
And they're residents there, right?
well,
Someone stays there?
I'm not sure about that, but I know in the past we've called like in the middle of the night, and
Someone stays there.
within an hour, you know, we're receiving fuel and somebody's there up working the pump. So the low bidder is Sweetwater Valley Oil Company, and the backup supplier is Woodall Grocery, which is just up the road from West Side. So we've never had dealings with either, but in verifying that they were the backup supplier and they understood the obligations, Mr. Woodall was in agreement to all of that.
There's 10 cents difference on unleaded and 9 on diesel.
Yes, sir. And you can figure on about 100,000 gallons of each, so $20,000 difference.
Rocky, since your guys use this in an emergency situation, have they had any issues with Westside?
No.
How often does the backup get utilized?
Couple times a year,
A
maybe?
couple times a year.
Like if the power's off on that side of
I
town?
started to say it's not gonna be no.
Really, they've got a backup generator now there,
Okay.
but we had some pump issues at one point,
Right.
couldn't be helped, and
And fuel supply, like if it's gonna be a long weekend, a lot of times Jack will come in and top us off with an order. They have an obligation that within 24 hours of our order, we're receiving fuel. So, you know, with Monday through Thursday operation with us, we're the ones that order the fuel. So if they have an eventful weekend and maybe we're borderline on the amount that we think we need in the tanks for the weekend. I know I've been out there Sunday night with, middle of the night with a stick in the tank saying, you can't get gas because there's not any in there, so. It does happen, it don't happen much, but it does happen. And the other things are like Mr. Harmon's talking about. We have a pump failure, a filter problem, or something that's gonna take business hours to take care of. Hey, over the weekend, we may have to go west side.
it always happens on a Friday night, right?
Right.
Was the top off, has that been discussed with Sweetwater? Like, let me see.
Nothing besides the obligation in the bid, which is a 24-hour. They're under a 24-hour commitment that once we place our order, they have 24 hours to fulfill that order.
There's a performance bond.
Performance bond, no. I guess in the event that we have, Mr. Porter, you may have to correct me, in the event that we have a default in contract obligations, then we would be allowed to award to the second bidder once we notify them in writing.
For the second one.
I can tell you that we're putting a little more teeth in the way that that's worded for next year. Just seeing where we possibly could be headed here, and by that I mean not fulfilling contract obligations will be at least 2 late deliveries on the fuel, and then that backup supplier will have to be listed when the bid packet comes in, and we'll have the obligations of the backup supplier listed too. But previously, that wasn't in there for this year.
You might order this, put this on hold a little bit and get them a little more information, make sure they understand that.
Well, we have had phone calls with them, and I talked to Mr. Woodall personally.
You know, I talked with him personally.
I have, yes.
We'd be obligated to move forward with the low bid unless we chose to rebid it. Regardless, correct? Do you have any other notes on any of the other bids?
One more. So the next tricky one is herbicide. And if y'all would like to flip open the herbicide folder there, I don't have it in front of me, but there's a rundown and I can explain why we're recommending it. So there were 4 bids on herbicide, if I remember correctly, and it came down to a company out of Louisiana called CPS and a company out of Alabama, Helena Chemical. Okay, we recommended Helena Chemical, and I can explain why. I think if you go back to the quantities and the chemicals that we sprayed this past year, and you do a breakdown of each, the CPS was cheaper on most of the items except for the most expensive one that we use the most of. Okay, so when you shook out the quantities and the drift control, Helena was cheaper on it. When you shook out the quantities that we used and the dollar amounts, it actually worked out to about a $1,300 difference favoring the Louisiana company. Okay, the main difference there is they're in Louisiana. Helena Chemical has been a supplier in the past, not the one last year, but in the past, and have done an outstanding job on delivery and their representative being available to field complaints, training, anything along those lines that were needed. So, due to the fact that they're in Alabama, there's a warehouse in Center, and I think Mr. Wall, his information is attached to the bid. I believe he lives in Selma, but he makes himself available to be on site if needed. If we do the 5% allowance for local bidding, then I think we can add up to 10 for an in-state versus out-of-state. Is that correct, Mr. Porter?
I think that's right.
They're within 5%. So if we add 5% to that low bid, Helena Chemicals within that amount. So
It's CPS, you know, is that crop production services? Is that what it is?
I'm not sure it was.
I know Helena's got an office right here in Tanner.
It's
Crop production.
D. Ryder, Louisiana.
Crop production does also, but we buy direct from them, you know. That's why I was wondering. I bet that CPS is crop production services.
Their bid should be in there, Mr. Sisk, on that. And I don't, where he signed it, I didn't see anything but the acronyms. I think that's it right there. Rourke, do you recognize that?
Yeah. I don't recognize him, they've got so many cell phone stuff, not the one I deal with there. But I can't believe he didn't put a letterhead on it. I'm sure that's what it is though.
So it's about a $1,300 difference, or we can go with Helena, that's kind of been proven for us. But either way, I'm fine with. That's just the reason that Helena was recommended.
And you said that the one that we use the most of, the most expensive, our use of that could go up, right?
Our
And
use
we
of
could
that will most likely go down and be replaced by another chemical. And that chemical that we're going to use instead, they're identical on price to it. It'll go down.
But over these seasons, like when things are worse, that we use more of it than the average you put the numbers in last year?
The major difference maker for this upcoming year is going to be our pre-emergent that we place. We've done the oust, was the pre-emergent before, and we're switching to a method and glyphosate. And 2,4-D mix for pre-emergent following the vegetation management manual produced by LDOT. So we'll see that most expensive one go down, but it'll be replaced by another expensive one. And the one it's replacing, they're identical on price, so it's kind of a wash.
Any other questions or comments? The recommendation as it stands and is listed here, either Helena for the herbicide and Sweetwater Valley for the gas and diesel, and the others as listed, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are there other questions or comments on this?
What about this, crushed limestone? Did Reed get involved in this?
Yes, sir.
They did?
Yes, sir.
They
It was close on most items. The one that majorly that tipped the scale was the size C, I believe it is. But that's gonna be the 1-inch crusher run and the crush stack base. It's $5.50 a ton, which I haven't seen those prices and I should tell you.
I bet you Reed coming in and James made it.
Reed has been very gracious to this county, even though they haven't sold it anything. Now, I can tell you that, you know, what we do to answer your question is when we analyze the two quarries, then we look at the price of the rock and the price of getting it home by us or getting it home by them. So what Ms. Gilbert's referring to there is a spreadsheet where we break down the price comparisons on the stone, and then we add the trucking in on we haul and they haul.
Right.
And then we also have to incorporate their haul rate when we do the they haul. So they could actually have a higher price rock and a cheaper haul rate and be a little closer, a little further away, and it work in their favor. So when we did all of that and analyzed it both ways, you know, the quarries are so close to the distance from our yard that it's basically works out to, you know, face value of the stone prices. So it's in Vulcan's favor. Just for your information, on the last page on that right side are the rock prices from 2 years ago, just if you wanna just glance at to see the difference. Some of them came down $5 a ton
I knew when they come in up here and change things.
per rock side.
Yeah.
But our recommendation is Vulcan on that based on the low bid.
Any other questions or comments? We have the list of the recommendations presented. Motion on how to proceed.
I'll make a motion to approve the presented list.
Motion approved the list as presented. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Okay. Motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? Is all this October 1?
Yes, sir.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. All right, next item is a motion regarding the triple layer surface treatment and traffic stripe. Mr. Campbell.
So invitations to bid were sent out for the local road paving that this commission has selected to pave, and with exception to County Road 8, which you probably remember from previous discussions, we decided we would handle that in-house due to time constraints with the weather. So the 4 roads that were solicited to be paved are County Road 155, 81, 118, and County Road 38, which is approximately 7.5 miles of paving. Several bids invitations were sent out to bid as well as advertised, and 2 were received. One was a no bid, and the only actual real bid was from Watts, Charlie Watts Incorporated. And so those bid sheets should be in your packets on the total amount. And when you crunch the numbers, it works out to about $33.5 a mile and that includes the triple surface treatment and striping.
This includes how many miles?
It's a 7.5
Okay.
approximately total with all 4 roads.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
What were those numbers again?
County Road 155.
Okay, he's got them in front, never mind, I apologize.
And I have a set of the plans here, the invitation to bid and the contract. So that was locally led, and we'll do a local award. So if you guys approve moving forward, then we will notify Mr. Watts that he is a low bidder. He'll have 15 days to produce his performance bond and then sign the contract, and then we will issue a notice to proceed, and in 15 days the work must start. Once the work starts, there'll be 30 days to complete the project. So we're looking at best case scenario, probably right around October 1 to get this executed. And then the work commencing shortly thereafter. But the plans are here, the contracts are here, the invitation to bid is here, and you have, I think, some of that, but not all, the bid form, which is basically his bid.
Any other questions or comments on this? Before we proceed? We were talking about the dollars, this will come from our 100 and 111 funds.
That's correct. It'll be a mixture. The invoices will ask for a breakdown. So the labor and equipment will come out of 111 operating fund. The material will come out of 100, which.
Out of our cash balance, essentially, correct?
Yes, sir.
Questions or comments on that? We discussed it before.
I just saw that look over his glasses.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, are we prepared to move forward with this tonight? We have a motion to approve the bid as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Okay, any further discussion or questions? These are all roads we've worked to prepare, correct?
Sir?
These are roads we've worked to prepare,
Yes, sir, that's correct.
and I think they've done an excellent job working to get these prepared, and of course, the work that needs to get done, but while we do have capabilities, I think this is a better process in order to get this done, so we can continue to work on some other roadways, is that correct, Mr. Campbell?
Yeah, the problem just comes down to manpower. We can't stop preparing the roads that we've chosen and obligated to want to pave, so, I can't, these guys can't pave with less than 12, maybe 15 of them, so, you gotta pick and choose what you don't want to do if we're gonna pave, and so, in the season we're in, to make this happen, I believe, the price is really attractive. It's good numbers came back on it, so I feel like if we want to pay and make it happen, this is our best route.
Any other questions or comments?
That recent work on 38, was that prep work for this?
Yes, ma'am, that was. We replaced three series of drainage structures, and there's still some patching to be done. 38 will be prepped, and there's 2 runs of drainage structures on County Road 155. Once those 2 remaining items are complete, which they're scheduled to be complete when this work could commence, everything will be prepared and they'll switch to County Road 8.
Anything further? Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the bid. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay. Next item, motion to surplus 2 water softeners for Jackson County Jail. You have a letter from the sheriff regarding these 2 items. I understand that they've already been replaced, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Just 2 items I'd like to surplus and dispose of. Any questions or comments on this? Have a motion to approve surplus these items.
Motion.
Motion, have a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay, next item is regarding the Southern Health Partners contract. Again, discussed this previously in the work session. Any further discussion on this before we proceed? We have a motion to approve the agreement as presented.
Make that motion.
Motion to a second. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay. And the final item regarding the pest control bid, again presented to us previously. We have 3 bidders, the lowest bidder being Kirkland. So do we have a motion on how to proceed with this item?
I'll make a motion, so Kirkland's will do it.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay. That concludes the items on our agenda, so move on to our reports. Chief Deputy?
Sheriff just asked that you get a copy of whatever you did as far as getting rid of these items,
Okay.
those records or something.
All right. Mr. Porter?
I don't have anything.
Mr. Manning?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Campbell?
Just one update real quick on the County Road 563 project. That bridge rehab is complete. There should be just a few snapshots in your packets. I wanted to brag on their work for just a little bit. Some of you may be more familiar with this, but it's the bridge rehab project that consisted of the bank and stream bed relocation, reconstruction. We received a call from a citizen actually about this had deteriorated after a large rain event. And a lot of the drift that you see in the first picture on the top left had redirected the main channel flow and scoured out the bank tremendously to the point that the abutment piling were almost exposed. So we worked with that landowner, and a lot of the credit is due to him because of his generosity in allowing us to utilize the space we needed to make some of this happen. But the guys were able to reconstruct and stabilize that bank, and then the scour protection that you see in the second photo. In some of the excavation, we noticed that there was actually some structural bracing missing, so that was added and repaired on the north abutment. And then the deck wearing surface had been in disrepair for years, and in fact, this particular bridge, there's problems for solid waste. With the weight restrictions that were present, they weren't able to cross it with a truck, so they were having to send smaller trucks to round up garbage on an infrequent basis. So that old wearing surface removed, and then we exposed that corrugated deck surface, bridge plank underneath, and made those repairs. And then in the shop, they were able to fabricate most of the curve and the guardrail posts there, bolt that in, and then add the second layer of the curve, come in with the guardrail, and finalize things for the end treatments and the object markers.
And where did you say 563 is?
563 it's in Big Coon,
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
and it serves the Sanders racetrack area,
Yeah.
which is, a lot of that property has changed hands, but there's quite a few houses across that, and that is the only way in and only way out.
Good job.
Very good.
Yeah, they,
It's pretty good. I went and looked at it.
I didn't realize what I'd asked of them, and the chairman and I were actually popped in on them one day, and it was during those 2 weeks in August when it was so hot, and they had picks out there picking out that old hot mix out of the corrugations of that deck. And I was like, time out, let's get some more guys up here and trade out, and then somebody's gonna have a heat stroke. But they made it through those 2 weeks of really hot weather, and I couldn't be prouder of their work. They did an excellent job on this, and I think this is one we can forget about.
Thank you, and thank you folks.
Well, no, thank you.
Mr. Reynolds,
No, sir.
Mr. Sis,
No.
Ms. Ms. Gilbert.
Yes, sir.
I think that concludes everything for this evening. We will have a work session next week, followed by a budget meeting. And hopefully be prepared to vote on our budget on the 25th of this month. So with that, we will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, say no.
Can I have a copy of that bridge work, 563?
Yeah.